Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the TED Show. Today I'm so excited because I get to spend time with one of my dear friends, Jill Bolander Cohen from the Lifeboat Project. Wow, that's a lot of ooh sounds. She's an amazing human being. The Lifeboat Project is, when you hear about it, you're just going to be amazed at what actually gets done here because of Jill and her team. And we're going to talk about a matching donor campaign. All of that coming up from the one and only Jill. Welcome to the show, Jill.
Hi, my love. Thanks for inviting me back on your show. It's been a while, but
I know.
and you've been doing some great things. I'm just glad to be on and talk about the match and talk about the great work that we're doing at the Lifeboat Project.
So I'm ready. Tell them what the Lifeboat Project is and maybe a little bit of how you got into it.
So the Lifeboat Project is a service provider for victims of human trafficking. We help with education, with wraparound services, education, housing, medical, dental, just kind of all the things that they need. We take a very victim-centered, trauma-based approach, which means the survivor drives their destiny, and we just walk alongside of them. We don't have a cookie cutter program. It is very, very individualized because we have some people that do not have their GED up to some of them have their master's degree that have unfortunately been trafficked. So we, they're all coming from all different walks of life. We have, I'd almost say 50-50 of sex trafficking survivors and labor trafficking survivors.
Wow.
Within this last 30 days, we just received in our first male survivor. And I have to tell you, I really tried to empower the survivors to come on and work with us and do some internship with us. I want it to be more of a family than a program. I just want to do life with them. Some people may think, okay, Jill, this is pretty unconventional, but hey, that's how I roll. So, and
they're why we love you.
Well, but they're happy, and that's kind of what you do. It's like you build a safety net underneath them, just like you would your kids, and make sure that they're safe. And so that's what we do. We just kind of do life together. Some people are not ready for the Lifeboat Project, and that's okay. Our doors are always open. And no one is ever kicked out of Lifeboat. You may lose the right if you do something shady to live in our properties, but you're not kicked out of the Lifeboat. We have many community clients that we work with too, that are just living their life and call us when they need something.
So tell me, I think people hear about it, right? But we get desensitized by the news, and there's so many other crazy distractions in the world. How bad is the trafficking problem here in Central Florida?
Well, funny you should say that, because I just heard a new perspective on it. I was on a call with one of the heads of the MBI, our Metropolitan Bureau of Investigations. And while Florida is ranked third in calls to the National Human Trafficking Hotline, that's kind of basically how they rate it. He put a spin on it and he said, I looked at in a positive way because there's more awareness now. People are calling in, they're reporting more. Just because they're saying that these are the numbers, that doesn't necessarily mean that these are all prosecuted cases, but that we're looking into things. We're doing investigations. There's tons of awareness. More services are being provided. So, and I like to be positive and turn it on the flip side. So I really like what Ron said, and that's what I'm going with. We are very, very active. In 2013, I also co-founded the Greater Orlando Human Trafficking Task Force. And so we work with all NGOs and law enforcement too. So
what's the need? Like talk about the need, because we're third in the nation. Florida is. Talk about the need, because the program the Lifeboat Project has housing, which you mentioned earlier. Give them a little update about what's been going on, because you've had some major changes even in 2020.
Oh, unbelievable. So 3 years ago, there was a nonprofit that housed homeless women and children, and they ended up closing their doors. And so they gifted the Lifeboat Project 4 properties. Were they livable? Yes. Did they need upgrading? Yes. And so with 2 of our houses, we partnered with the Home Depot Foundation and did a remodel. One of the homes is for women, transitional, and one is for LGBTQ. Both of those homes are filled.
Wow.
We had a quadruplex that we owned too that was really in need of serious work. And I call it by the grace of God, this angel named Russ Beamer from Homemade Orlando, a newer organization to the area, came and they chose the Lifeboat Project as one of their first projects. And so
Wow.
they partnered with Park Square Homes, and they came in and did probably about $170,000 worth of, in-kind labor. But like Samsung donated, they furnished all of the apartments with, all the appliances, refrigerators, nice high-end stuff, not their lower end. And so it was just a wonderful experience. That the place is absolutely beautiful. So we now have a 14-bed facility. 2 of the rooms are designated as an emergency low barrier shelter, which basically means that if someone comes to us and they're drunk or they're high, whatever it is, that we will just kind of let them sleep it off. We've already had that happen, and it's turned out to be a really great experience. They got to sleep for a week, and then we kind of figured out what's the game plan, and the survivor is thriving. So we're really excited about what we're doing.
It's amazing. I think, you see this, you see it on TV, you've heard about it. If you've watched any kind of criminal law intent, SVU kind of stuff, people talk about it, but you really don't believe it's going on in our backyard and at the rate that it's been going on. I think a lot of times people they get desensitized, like we talked about.
Well, they do get desensitized, and what scares me now is that the National Human Trafficking Hotline had a 50% increase of calls coming in, and what we find frightening, because our calls have picked up. I know some of the others in town that are doing this work, their calls have picked up. Where children are now really hidden. They're not going to school where a bus driver or school teacher sees them. They're working on the computers. And as of late, from one of our survivors, I just heard some horrific stuff that's going on the internet, where they're violating and they're video outing on the dark web, and it is just and again, that's hard to track. So this stuff is happening. I think the more awareness that we can bring is wonderful, but the services is the most important thing, because if we don't provide services to the victims, it's just, and go after the traffickers, it's just that hamster wheel that keeps on going, and it can wreak havoc in a community. But I will say Central Florida has really got it going on being on top of the game across the nation. And Lifeboat is a part of an organization called the Freedom Network USA, which is a group of service providers that was brought years ago together by the Department of Justice, and they formed this powerhouse coalition. And so when I listen on some of the calls of what's happening around the nation, I'm thinking, we got it going on here.
Yeah. Well, you really have begun to hit it at the level that's not, we've talked about this before, where a lot of times the victim would be put into the system, and then it's almost like they're back in a locked up situation. They have PTSD from what they've already been through, and now you're locking them up again. There wasn't really anything to address the true needs of what the trafficking victims had to have in order to make a positive move forward.
Well, and I think too, sometimes, Ted, that, a lot of the victims have had trauma in their childhood, in their youth. And so if things are not addressed, the vulnerability is there for the survivors or for the victims, or the traffickers to come after the victims. And, but a lot of these people have burnt bridges, and so they get labeled. And we don't label them here. We understand what the trauma is, and we approach it from that point. For instance, one of the survivors came in, the traffickers had shot them full of every kind of drug and brought them in. And so they stayed and just slept it off. Well, I sat down and said, listen, here's the bottom line. We are not equipped. We are not a drug and alcohol rehabilitation center. That's not what we do. If you feel that you have an issue, then we need to get you that help. But it turns out that this was just something it was an occurrence that would happen for them to perform sex acts. But it was not that the trafficker had them do, but it was not necessarily they're an addict. Right. So, we learn every day some new things, and then dealing with having the survivor deal with their trauma, and seeing that it wasn't their fault, and having people that understand what they're going through. It's exciting. I love coming to work. Of course
you do, because you're changing lives, Jill. I mean, you're really making an impact. And for some of these, well, I would say the majority of these people, the last time that they even could think the word safe is probably a vague, distant memory. And so the Lifeboat Project really brings them in and gets to the nitty gritty of what maybe because like you said, everybody's needs different, everybody's place is different, and every experience is different. And so you all really put your heart into it, which is why this matching campaign is so important. So let's talk about that.
Yes.
Give us the 411.
Well, do you want to lead off with some of that, or?
Yeah, so I absolutely will. I wasn't sure if you wanted to take it, but I'm going to take it. So we have an anonymous donor who's come forth and has donated. Are we allowed to say the amount? I don't think they care. It's up to you. Yeah, $10,000 matching. They want to do a matching campaign. And what that does is that $10,000 goes so much further, because there are other people out in the community that begin to build around this campaign. They begin to get more money. They see if somebody else has donated, well, they want to come in and they want to donate too. And so talk a little more detailed from the nonprofit side, what that actually looks like.
Well, this is just such a blessing, Ted, because as all nonprofits know right now, everything because of COVID has pretty much been on hold. A lot of things are, we're doing fundraising and things online, which is more difficult because, you and I both, we love that personal interaction, but got to do what you got to do. So this is truly a blessing to have this $10,000 and to match it to make it $20,000. I just casually, my husband and I were at his company Christmas party and casually spoke to somebody, and they said, "Okay, count us in for 1,000." He goes, "I'll see if I can do more." So that's exciting, and I just like to put it out there. Understand that the survivors watch what's going on. They really watch who invests in getting them the healing help that they need. And so when the community steps up, this place is like a madhouse. I mean, we have so many wonderful donations coming in, people bringing Christmas trees and turkeys, and it's just amazing. And so the survivors see what's happening. And so when the community can step up and help to match this just means more therapy, help with their books for school. We have 8 survivors starting college or going back to college next month. That's
amazing.
That's amazing.
It gives me chills every time you talk about it, because you talk about it so passionately, and you know every nook and cranny of what you're doing, which is so powerful because you can recognize the need. You bring in the people, but you're actually addressing it, trying to address it as close to the core as possible. And I think everything the Lifeboat Project does is absolutely amazing.
It is. It's
mind blowing.
Yeah, well, we're grateful to have this outlet. I was telling one of our new people here, and I was saying that when I started doing this 10 years ago, and found out that this was happening, I was like, this is not happening in my backyard. I'm born and raised here, and this is not happening in my backyard. And I needed to do something. I didn't know what I was going to do, but hey, so we've come along.
It's your life's work. It's your life's work.
It is, and it was hard to raise money on a topic that people don't think is happening. So, but correct. We all are in the know now, and so now
we're in the know.
Yeah.
All right, tell them how they can donate, how they can get involved in the matching donor campaign, the best way to reach out to you all and give back.
You can go to the Lifeboat Project, and you want to put the lifeboatproject.org, or you can reach out to us if you want to call or you want to send a check. You can reach out to us at 407-310-8905. Again, 407-310-8905.
Fantastic.
And we are here to talk to you and see ways that you can volunteer. We have volunteer get-togethers all the time. So there's, time, treasure, or talents. But right now, we need the funding to match this great campaign, and we're very excited and very grateful.
I'm excited. All right, the website is scrolling across the bottom, thelifeboatproject.org. Jill, you're amazing. I love you to pieces, and I'm so blessed and humbled by all the amazing work that you do in our community.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, peace out. Thelifeboatproject.org. Matching donor campaign. Get involved. Get back. It's a great way for you to help double that money. All right, we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Thanks, Lynn. Bye.